Good evening. I am so honored to be here tonight, and we are all honored to have Dr. Zediu here tonight. Sir, you are a true gentleman, and we admire you tremendously. Thank you for coming. Alfonso, where are you? Alfonso, you are a man of great faith. You have given a Brazilian a microphone and told him to speak. Usually that ends up in either official apologies or a carnival parade, but I'm going to try and avoid both. Tonight I want to speak to the students here and the recipients, but how many students do we have? Can you... Come, no students? Come on, where are you? Stand up. All right. But I want to introduce you, first of all, to this man. If we have that picture. Yeah, the guy on the far left. It's a picture of my father at a very difficult time in history. And I just want to talk a little bit about him and his influence. But here he is at 15. 15. This Brazilian-born, half-French, half-British teenager had heard Churchill's call of no surrender and lied about his age to join the Home Guard to defend Britain from invasion. Now, this is absolutely true. His first weapon was a sharpened broomstick, and when they were later given rifles, they had one bullet and a bayonet. Now that is a commitment. A year earlier, at 14, he'd been through the Glasgow Blitz, when German planes had dropped 500 tons of high explosives and 600 tons of incendiary bombs on Glasgow in 2 nights. At 17, he joined the Royal Marines, and at 18, in 1945 at war's end, he found out his beloved French grandmother, along with every other elderly person in her neighborhood, had been rounded up by the SS and used as a human guinea pig for experimental drugs. Her body was never found. His uncle, an engineer in the French Navy, had refused to serve in the Vichy French Navy under the Nazis. He was therefore denied a place to live and denied food rations. He died of starvation and exposure on the docks of Brest, rather than collaborate. His example and sacrifice and his grandmother's cruel murder had a profound effect on my father, who suddenly had a mission. At 18, which is younger than most of you, he was determined, and perhaps he believed it was the price of survival, to truly understand the world. You see, if you don't understand the world, you can't hope to change it. Instead, you become enslaved by events you don't understand. So he realizes that his chances of college were absolutely zero after the war. But despite this, he still became a student, or rather, an eternal student. He taught himself accounting, painting, calligraphy. He read and collected books on history, art, business, geography, and much more. He never became rich, but he was wealthy in ways that mattered. He was generous, loved, and respected, and he was recognized. In 1989, he was given the Order of the British Empire by Queen Elizabeth for his work in Brazil. Importantly, he never, ever stopped believing in the power of education. He insisted that each of his sons got at least a college degree, no matter what the personal cost to him. Dad was an amazing teacher, but let me just share 3 short lessons he gave me. Lesson number 1, education isn't only about making more money. For years, I mistakenly thought he'd given me an education primarily as a way to earn more money with a better job. But when we moved to Venezuela in 1998 with P&G, we decided that the children needed someone at home. I temporarily gave up my career. From being in line to be CEO of a British insurer in Brazil, I became, proudly, a stay-at-home dad. However, my parents had spent everything, all of their life savings, on my US education, and out of respect, there's that Latino thing again, I felt compelled to explain to my father. So I went to England, and I sat down with him, And I explained what I'd done. And he took me aside and he said, you know, I didn't send you to America as some sort of investment. I sent you for an education and to make you a better person. And then he reached out and he said, you know what? I think it worked. Yes, thank you. Yes, education should make you a better person, a more interesting person, perhaps a less selfish person, and certainly a more humble person, and hopefully a better citizen. Lesson number 2, a broad, secular higher education is the best defense against being tempted by extremist ideologies. A broad, secular college education is an antidote for the kind of venomous hatred, arrogance, and bigotry that had caused World War II and the murders of our family members. This is particularly pertinent again today. Recognize this, and if you walk away, you students, with nothing tonight, please remember this. If you find yourself being taught how or who to look down upon, or that you are better or worse than someone else because of where you were born, your religion, who you love, or the color of your skin, you are not being educated, you are being manipulated. Finally, lesson number 3. My father taught me never say no to a great adventure. Never turn down the opportunity to travel or work somewhere you're not familiar with. I have lived in America, Brazil, Venezuela, Mexico, England, Scotland, and the Middle East. Not by chance. Not because we woke up one day in these places. Well, maybe once, but that's a story for another evening. But because someone said yes when opportunity knocked. Education isn't only gained in the classroom. It's gained by experiencing the world and meeting its people. He believed, as I now do, that every person you encounter every day, no matter how humble, can teach you something you don't know. But so few of us ask and too few of us question. So, when you leave here tonight, please consider humbly becoming an eternal student. My father would have been honored and excited to see the students here tonight, but especially our scholarship recipients. Congratulations, God bless America, and gracias.